welcome Tom Juranka.
Thank you.
I'm Hilton Milan, hosting for the Divine Dude Show. Welcome. And this little segment I like to think of as Angel's Den. There's some great shows on television for venture capitalists and
Yep.
people are looking for money and equity and leadership. I don't think I can say their name, but but I'm operating under the premise of Angel's Den.
Nice.
Bringing the angels forward and
Sweet.
doing angel work. So with that, Tom Juranka, can you tell me? I know you've created a game that's supposed to help millions of people. I don't know. Could it help billions?
Yes.
Really?
Well, it could help everybody who speaks English, and that's 1.5 billion.
Holy. All right. Well, that's a great start. I sort of saw. I'm legally blind. I have a little bit of shadow vision, and let's see. Where do we begin?
Here, should I show you how the
Yeah.
card deck looks like?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the onsets. Like this is a T. These are all consonants. BL, CL. These are what start words that don't start with a vowel. They'll start with a blend of consonants or a single consonant.
I'm just hearing 2-letter things, and I'm seeing
Okay.
a little bit of things that look like they're
Okay.
half flashy.
So like we take the T, all right?
Hold on a second. Hand me those cards there.
You hold that.
The blind man's taking. I see something here that says what? Juranka.
Juranka.
That's almost like Jurassic. Juranka.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So this is supposed to be fun for kids.
It's fun for kids, and
From how young?
Word game enthusiasts are going to be the ones who latch onto it first. The ones who are already playing Scramble and Scrabble probably are going to be the low-hanging fruit.
Probably 3 years on or 2.
Well, we're making versions for children that use specifically the 37 rhymes that have been shown to make up a child's first 500 words. So that's going to be directed strictly towards kids.
And that's their way of super learning, isn't it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Juranka. That's so. This science is not new, is it? Could you tell us a bit about that?
It's 50 years old. It started in 1967. Eric Fudge was at Cambridge, same time as Stephen Hawking. And Stephen Hawking was looking at the cosmos. Eric Fudge was dividing the syllable. And he divided it. He used as his model Pig Latin. It's another game.
Yes.
If you smart, for example, in Pig Latin would be art sme. The S and the M would travel together to the end of the word. It divides words at the onset rhyme boundary, which is before the first vowel. Here are what the rhymes look like. Ache, like with the T, we'd have take, tar, tink is not a word, tough. So you get.
Let me tell you, it's tough for me because I know you're telling me the truth about the letters are there,
Right.
But it's like blank pages to me. But I'm
Yes.
seeing it in my mind's eye.
Right.
And is that what happens with kids too?
Yes, there's research that shows that at a certain point you develop in your brain an ability to segment words into onsets and rhymes, and that happens with fluent readers, even who don't even know what onsets and rhymes are.
What is an onset, please?
Onsets are the consonants at the beginning of a word before the first vowel. Like T is the onset, and
Yes.
the AKE is the rhyme.
I see.
See, and if you wanted to add words,
I see, said the blind man. Oh, sorry about that.
let's see. I'm trying to make a multi-syllable word here.
Yes.
Well, let's see. That it requires a little bit of preparation. I can't do it with these ones.
Does this need adult supervision for it to work with kids?
Well,
Or a
certainly
leader?
the app does not.
Okay.
It says
There's an
ready,
app
set,
too?
go.
Whoa.
There's an app, and with the app you have the speed of digital technology. You don't have to look up words. You have instant spell check. It tells you right away if you're right or wrong. And with multi-touch, you can be doing it this fast.
And children, little babies almost, are using their little their pads.
Yes.
And they're just
Yeah.
sucking knowledge in.
That's right.
But sometimes if it's guided, it's intelligent knowledge, isn't it? So this is the beginning of.
Well, what happens with this is that when people start combining these two segments to make words,
Yes.
and they're playing it over and over again and repeating it over and over again, they're starting to teach themselves how to segment words. And that's what phonological awareness is, the ability to segment words into their syllables and to understand what each sound on its own is, and then when you combine them, you pronounce properly. It's I'll show you the speed at which it goes.
Yes.
This is the sound of the game starting up, and then here I push
It's like
the
a little rhyme already.
yeah. So it says ready, set, go, and okay. When it goes ba-bum, that's a good word.
Yes.
Oops. Let's listen. Oops, I'm trying to find one that's... Okay, that's not when it goes boom, boom, it's not a correct word.
All
so
right.
you got the sound thing. This is how fast you can make words. So it's clearly the fastest word game out there.
Wow. You're quite a winner. You're good at this, aren't you?
Thanks. I've done it once or twice. When you get to 50 points, it gives you another 30 seconds.
Yes.
So it keeps.
Oh, so we get to be in competition with ourselves and
You're in
actually
competition
train
with yourself.
ourselves. And that's the best competition.
And it's almost
really the only
guaranteed
one.
that
Yeah.
in your first 3 games, you double your score. It starts that you're, hesitant, and then you realize that, that's the end of the game.
Yes.
You, as soon as you start trying them and they start working, then you get more agile with it, and also your peripheral vision, finding matches around that improves.
Yes.
But it's the beauty of it is that it's doing all this teaching without you realizing it. It's completely subliminal. Now, the way development happens for learning English
please.
is people start with letters. There's letter recognition, and most people stop there. They teach their kids the alphabet.
Yeah.
And then
the dog barked.
yeah,
And
hoping and
where
the
does
final.
where does a dyslexic, come to that when you're ready, have trouble with that? And where's the breakdown? Where do we lose people?
The dyslexic has trouble in the middle of the word with the vowel. That tends to be the thing that throws them because the vowels are inconsistent. So it's what they learn does not
So
apply with the next word that
dog
they
and
use.
dog,
Yeah.
would throw them off.
Well,
What am I missing?
yes. Well, say the fact that you can pronounce the letter A in 20 different ways.
Yes.
The letter O in over a dozen different ways, and that when they hear the letter, it just doesn't automatically click in.
It doesn't land anywhere.
It doesn't land anywhere. If people would learn chunks like this,
Yes.
instead of just learning the letter A, they would go, when it's in this formation, A-K-E, it's a long A. It's going to
Yes.
be ache.
Yes.
When it's like this, it'll be an ant. You know?
Yes. This is the exact examples I'm looking for.
Yeah. When
I'm experiencing, actually. I'm not, but my mind is looking for. So I
Yes.
I see from an inner standpoint now more than I do on the outer.
yes.
And sometimes, like I close my eyes and I see better than sometimes trying to see the old way.
Right.
So things change. In this, it seems like easily kids that are 3 years old, as well as, kids
Yeah.
that are 103.
Well, in that, in the article, Sarah Hines' article, 2009, she wrote about kids who were 5 years old.
Yeah.
And there was no game. There wasn't a proper game like this. It was just simply introducing them to word families.
Yes.
Is that how they call it in elementary school? Onsets and rhymes is really a linguistic term. So they were introduced to these word families, and they improved instantly. It's a missing piece between letter recognition and the final prize, the grand prize, is whole word recognition. That's how fluent readers read. They see the word, they know what it is right off the bat. They don't segment words. At
Yes.
that stage, they know the word right off the bat. the missing link to get them from letter recognition to whole word recognition is phonological awareness, where they can see the structure of the sounds and how they work together. That is precisely what's taught with onsets and rhymes. In 1985, Rebecca Tryman wrote an article. She was using a sample size of 500 Wayne State University students, and they found out that onsets and rhymes, if you play games that divide words at the onset rhyme boundary, like this one, they're easier to learn, and they're more fun to play. It started with Pig Latin was easy and fun, but she tried doing games dividing elsewhere in the word, and students believed it was harder to learn and more difficult to play. So that was 1985, and yet no games were made. After she showed that it's more fun to play, easier to learn, there was no actual game made for the adult or youth audience using onsets and rhymes, and I was startled by that. All the research is done. That was my focus group, 500 students in 1985.
Oh my gosh. That's great.
This is all completely based on heaps of linguistic academic research. In 1972, Isabella Lieberman showed that syllables, a 3-year-old who cannot spell can tap out the number of syllables. Like you say butterfly, they can go butterfly. They'll tap out 3 taps, and only 1 tap for swing.
Yes.
So that showed that the syllable was very accessible, and that it was something that we learned early, that we could cope with early. But that's what drew attention to this original work by Eric Fudge.
Yes.
And then
It's a great name, Eric Fudge.
Eric Fudge.
Yeah.
And now he's at the University of Reading,
Yes.
in Reading, UK. That's the name of the city.
Oh, okay. And what does he teach there? The same thing?
He's written a whole bunch of books about he really seemed to have moved on. He moved to stress in words. He was focused on where people put the stress in the syllable. Became his second half of his career. But
so really, like the impact of linguistics, and he studied it, so it actually is measurable and understandable.
Yes.
So I think I had heard you say it in an earlier time that 1 in 5 kids, and when I say kids, I'm referring to all humanity, that are somewhat conscious, or cogent, from 3 to 103, maybe it's 113. I'm also, am I incorrect in wondering if people that have had a massive accident or a medical incident, and then they have a stroke or some other accident where then they have to learn to speak again.
Right.
Is it more challenging, or would this accelerate that process?
This would probably accelerate that process. I know with Alzheimer's, it's been shown that people who are active playing word games, that resists the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Now, this game would facilitate playing word games because, as I say, all the words are made out of 2 pieces.
And so it's a lot simpler than Scrabble.
So simple to put them together.
And Scrabble is nothing really but a puzzle with letters.
Right.
Right.
Right. These are like Lego building blocks. And they just click together.
With sounds.
Yes.
Yes.
These rhymes, these are the original sounds of the language. First, the English language was an oral tradition.
Yes.
And these sounds were invented, and and then later on, they had to figure out how they're going to put letters to the sounds, and this was the system they used. It sort of shows you basically the machine language of the language. It lets you step back and see exactly how words are built.
Okay. Why is it that some people have an easier time, like an intrinsic sort of understanding, it just flows, and other people it's a real, challenge sometimes?
Yeah.
Do you have any insights into that?
Well, I believe that the problem, and dyslexics are probably the prime example, is that we're used to learning something and then having it, feeling like it applies to every circumstance. And the reason that this game's important is because this separates all the separate circumstances. It's not perfect because, for example, you have something like how slow. The rhyme is OW, but it sounds different with how than with slow. It's a short,
Yes.
as opposed to a long vowel. Well, that's an exception to the rule, and because it is an exception, that's why these games are so valuable. If you take Rebecca Tryman again showed, this was 2002 article, that the main value of rhymes is that they demystify. They let you. What is it? They take away the inconsistency of the vowel sound. If you just say the letter A, okay, you can say it in 22 different ways, but, or say the letter I, IGHT is a beautiful example. If you don't know what IGHT is, if you don't know that chunk, that it says IT, then you won't be able to spell or pronounce a dozen of the most important words in the language: bright, sight, might, night, light. Now, you'll pronounce them icht. You'll spell them ITE. So that's an example of if you have that IGHT and you learn it as a chunk.
Yes.
Not
Then it
as
becomes
separate
universal.
letters. Then it applies.
Yes.
Universally. Then quickly. Then if you hear IT, it's either going to be ITE or IGHT. There's some rare IET German words, but basically those two versions are your only two choices. You can immediately jump to one of those to spell it properly.
Yes, yes. And in the spelling, then, and having these nuances, you're also getting, the linguistics to enunciate these properly.
Yes.
So it's not just people with learning disabilities or challenges like dyslexics,
Right.
but it's also people just learning.
Right.
More than the 1 in 5 that have learning challenges.
Right.
But it's also people throughout life when they go to take on ESL. English as a second language,
Right.
and that's more than half the population on the planet.
Right. So I feel like the audience is the market for this is obviously huge. There is the learning, the ESL, and then for those people, this is like medicine. It's 50 years of research put into an easy to swallow game format pill. They get all that learning in something that's extremely fun to do. But for those people who are already fluent, this is more just a exciting, fast game. Everything
For someone
about,
that is competent,
Yes.
In this, by playing the game, are they going to increase their cognitive abilities?
I sure have. It speeds up your. It's been shown to accelerate your word recognition. So it's. I'm sure it will help others too. But
I'm
as I
seeing in my
say,
mind's eye as you're speaking, I'm seeing just the vowels and the ites and the
Yeah.
the ill and the and the will. It's like, oh, a whole new world is opening, and I didn't really have an appreciation for, as you said, that there's 27 letters
Yeah.
in our English language that have in the Oxford Dictionary. Correct me if I'm not. There was over 500,000, but now it's going up to 1 million.
there's 1 million words now in the English language.
1 million words.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah.
So everybody that speaks English, off those 27 letters, and getting these combinations of 3s and 2s, is really going to be able to be a millionaire just in their aspect of being able to appreciate that first 1 million words.
It's the language is growing so fast. At first, there was this notion that we're not going to add new words. Then they came to terms with the fact that a living language is a language that's growing new words. Latin's not getting any new words.
No.
The one of the main aspects that show that it's actually a living language is that people are shoving words into, and English has been taking words from every language. Of course, French the French language, when the Normans invaded in 1055, English became illegal in England. The aristocrats had to run or were killed, and the peasants, the farmers, were the ones who kept English alive for 150 years. Now, during that time, the French gave us, gave the English language all the Greco-Roman words that we've got, which is
Like?
huge, which is most of our words that aren't even French, but like portal or table or
Yes. Okay.
but like the Anglo-Saxons were Germans. The Angles and Saxony are in the Jutland in Germany on the coast. They're right beside each other. It was the group that went to England and started the Anglo-Saxon language. So that was German to begin with. It was monosyllabic. The French gave us prefixes and suffixes.
Yes.
So we had a multi-syllable language, and we owe that to the French. Unfortunately, they didn't give us accents. So we've got all these vowel sounds without the accents telling us which way to
Use
pronounce
the word.
them.
So we're
Yeah.
having to,
Yeah.
we're having to inventory all those different things, and at first it's confusing because we think we understood it once, and then it's taken out. The rug is taken out from us, and then it's sort of like nothing makes any more sense.
Yeah.
And so we draw blanks when we can't see a picture that's accurate.
Yes.
We go
Until we start recognizing that these things
Yes.
are like are segments to be understood as they are. Like this thing. If you see that, if you don't split it up into 3 letters,
Okay.
but then you know dove, love.
So every newborn,
Yes.
or every kid ought to get this as as a present for their second or third birthday, shouldn't they?
This game is, in particular, has a lot of more difficult rhymes in it.
Oh, okay.
So this is a little bit,
Wait
this is
till-
the first deck I released with 100 rhymes and 50 onsets.
So this is 5 years old and up.
No, this one would be more like 12 years old and up.
Holy
Yeah.
fun!
No, if I would...
So that's like at the onset of adolescence, you could really rock
Right.
these kids into some new expansive consciousness, and maybe it will
Maybe
balance
even
out,
sooner if
harmonize the incredible teens.
if you got the junior version when you were 3,
Yeah.
then you'd probably be ready for this by the time you were 7.
I see. All right.
But it's I would start with the thing that brought me to this game in the first place, that a child makes their first 500 words out of 37 of these. So those 37 would be the ones that play most prominently in a game for children.
Yes.
With the latest incarnation of our app,
Yes.
we just started it 2 months ago, is on
And
the
it's called
Unity. Juranka.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All
thank you.
right.
And you go to Juranka.com
Yes.
to learn more about it. The latest incarnation of it is written on Unity, which is a game platform which can deliver games to both Androids and iOS simultaneously.
Perfect.
It's available for computers as well as digital
Is it
mobile
only
apps.
individual play, or can it also be group play?
It's going to be. That's the next versions.
version. Things to be
we're
excited about.
We're going multi-syllable,
Yes.
and we're going multiplayer. The multiplayer game will have 2 versions. One is that you play a game, and then your friend is at work, and they can, when they get home, they can play the exact same cards in the exact same order, and we'll see what they come up with. There's another version we're contemplating, which will be real time, which means if more players are playing it simultaneously, they can actually start stealing some of your cards right in front of your eyes. If you're not quick to claim a word, you might lose half of it or all of it.
Oh, sounds like too fun.
It's fast, and it's the fast part of it is that makes it really fun. I mean, it's the thing of word enthusiasts are just in love with the language, but the problem with all these Scrabble is you pick a good word and then you wait 10 minutes or a day for your friend to send you back their word.
Yes.
You know, this thing, it's over in a minute if you
Yes.
don't manage to get to 50 points.
So
It's
this
like-
is this is an
it's so
amazing.
fast.
Yes, it's amazing that it's like like miniature chess or checkers, and like the joy of getting some wins.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone wins sometimes.
Yeah, well, everyone wins with this because you're learning. It's we have it so that you can post your high scores online.
Yes.
But there's also you can post it for yourself offline, and you can just track your progress. And it's incredible. I've watched so many hundreds of people play this game, and always you see them improving, and that the improvement is such a motivator.
I presume you can't put it out for free, at least not yet.
I do put it out for free.
You do?
It's
All
a
right.
very significant game that you can get for
What
free.
a contribution!
The game, because yeah, absolutely.
All right, and then when the app
I
comes, is that gonna
definitely
be-
want to make
you're-
money,
you're-
but I
yeah,
also want
with the
in my
app. Are you
heart of
going to set
hearts-
it up as it
Yes.
grows so that there'll be a premium version and a family will pay?
There's the pro version.
Like $10 or $5 or whatever.
Once you hit 100 points, it tells you you're a pro, and buy the pro version if you want to go
Ah,
beyond there.
What do you have a price for the pro version yet?
Yeah, I do. It's currently it's we're discussing the price.
I'm so
there's,
excited. I'm gonna have you back to find out
yeah.
all these exciting details.
Yeah, there's right now the price is going to go up.
Yes.
Right now it's in the stores for $3.99, but that's at some point the
Yeah. Well, there's so much value you're building
exactly,
into it. Maybe
exactly.
$3.99 a month.
It's not it's not a little shooter game that
No.
you get on Steam and get bored of in a couple of days.
Right.
I'm hoping it takes its place alongside chess and bridge as
Yes.
classics that long outlive, myself.
Yes. Oh, this is exciting. Gosh. So here's where you are right now. You're in the midst of launching now your app.
Yes.
And you've got your board game and the card deck.
Yes.
They're two different things, right?
Yes, they are. I started with a card deck, and it went
So you
really.
just call it the Juranka card deck and then
Yes.
the Juranka board game.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And they
card
sell
deck,
for
a card deck and app.
yes. All right.
The apps for computers and mobile.
Yes. Okay.
It's the card deck is only out in a prototype form.
Right.
And I've printed 100 decks, and when we start our Indiegogo campaign
Yes.
to get pre-orders so that we can print them more cheaply. At that stage, these prototype decks
Yeah.
that are now going on about 9 years old, they're going to be a part of the perk
Right.
for the high bidders.
Oh, sweet. So
Yeah.
everyone gets to win. They get to contribute to
Yeah.
literacy and greater effectiveness and cognitive effectiveness.
Yep, that's right. No, this is kids are. When I was discussing this with Werner.
Earhart?
No. Ed Werner is his name.
Okay, yes.
He's one of the four principals of Trivial Pursuit. He was the lawyer of the four.
Oh,
of them.
yes.
He told me that Trivial Pursuit was, in fact, avoiding the educational game category as much as it could. It didn't want to be in the educational section of the store. It wanted to be right up next to Monopoly, right? And he recommended to me as well that you have obviously potentially one of the most educational games out there.
Yes.
And he recommended that I stress how fun it is.
Yes.
And how fast it is, and how how it gives you a thrill, and it does, because kids are dubious about educational games.
Yes.
So that's something that I would tell the grandparents. I wouldn't necessarily advertise to the kids.
Yes.
In one ad that we're thinking about doing, we have a grandparent doing what I did, which is to bribe kids because that
It's fun.
you give them if they could reach 100 points. It took me 2 weeks to reach 100 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if they can reach 100 points, they have learned so much
Nice.
That it's worth your $20. And so I've bribed a couple of my kids to get involved in it, and that gives them the extra hook.
So you just give them $20 as for getting the 100 points?
Yeah, they got 50 for getting the 50.
Yeah.
They got $5 for, no, $10 for getting the 50.
Yeah.
And they got 20 for getting to 100.
Whoa.
And it took them about 3 weeks.
That's
We have
good.
it built in so that when you do it randomly, it starts working against you. At first, it can help, but then as you get into the more difficult rhymes, they just don't match up very often, so you end up losing points. So they actually have to start paying attention
And concentrating
and concentrating, and they can do it.
Yes, everyone
and they
can
feel
in
this
this case.
incredible achievement
Yes.
for getting to 100 points. It's such a powerful learning tool. Yeah.
Awesomeness. Wow. And with where you're at right now, what are some of the challenges that you're facing?
Well, I've been basically a game developer for 10 years,
Yes.
and now I have to become a salesman. And I have to come out of my, geek lifestyle.
Thank you for coming out today.
And this is my first interview.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something that I have to start doing. I have to put the word out there.
Yes.
So, at this stage, the only people who've ever heard of this game are my personal friends.
Yes. Yes.
So as soon as the word gets out, I hope the word of mouth will travel. And
well, here in this little segment that I call Angel's Den,
yes,
for this Divine Dude show,
Right.
Any of you angels out there that catch this, feel free to contact,
Thank you.
Hilton at thatchannel.com, and we'll be pleased to put you in touch with Tom Juranka
thank you.
of the Juranka. You haven't got it set up as the Juranka game yet, have you?
Well, the company is Juranka Inc.
Yes.
The games, the game on the app is called Juranka Classic because I've patented this using onsets and rhymes
Yes.
digitally
Yes,
with
oh,
microprocessors. So I plan to put out a slew of games. Now that we're producing these games in the Unity platform,
Yes.
we're going to be able to easily convert it into virtual reality games.
When you say the Unity platform, please elaborate.
Oh, Unity is a game platform usually used for first-person shooter games
Okay.
and 3D, run-through games.
Yes.
It's a very robust platform.
So
that,
this is true edutainment, not just the entertainment. It's education,
Yeah.
that actually enriches people, not
Oh,
just
yeah.
distracts them.
right, exactly. And there's a huge audience.
Sounds
for,
a little divine.
There's a market for word games, like the word and game enthusiast market is huge.
Yes, yes.
Words. I was reading that. What's it called? Words with Friends, I believe, which is the Zynga version of the Scrabble game,
Yes.
made $240 million in 1 year.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. And really, it's just a remake of Scrabble. It's not. It really didn't produce a new game. It just put the Scrabble game into, and there was a slew of other Scrabble games already operating in that in the digital app platform. This is the very first and only onsets and rhymes digital game.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank
Alan.
you.
So, and other things that you're wanting to do. What do you think? What would be ideal for you to have happen this year? Now we're just entering the summer quarter, and then we've got the fall quarter. What's your vision for this year, and then carry us forward to maybe 3 years? Your
Well,
ideal.
This year, I'm hoping that the game goes viral.
Yes.
And along with this game, I would love to spread the good word of edutainment. I feel like edutainment is the education of the future.
As do I.
Yeah, and there's a lot of signs showing that that's the way it's going
And incorporating that as part of the resource, particularly in self-directed learning,
Yeah.
have you what are your thoughts on that?
I know that anyone who's doing ESL, anyone who's doing homeschooling, and even if you're not, whether you're just learning the language or whether you're completely fluent and you want to set the world high score in this game, this game is, adapts to everybody's needs. It's at first, new learners will be getting a lot wrong. But when you get something wrong, you learn as well.
Yeah, it's actually a successful learning experience.
Yes.
Hey, that doesn't work. Now let's find what does.
That's right.
And it's all valuable.
In fact, when you go to when you finish the game in the in your final game over page,
yes,
it has what we call the oracle.
I love oracles.
Because sometimes this is the spooky part.
Yes.
Sometimes the words you pick, and these are completely random.
Yes.
And the way you pick them is quite random because only certain ones will work, and your eye catches only certain ones. But actually, when it comes out in a thing, it starts actually reading like a sentence.
Yes.
And so it had sort of that prophetic sort of slant. Jung said if you combine something random with something that's non-random, like a tarot card with shuffling the deck, and yet the card means something in a certain spot, and then that can is an insight into the moment.
Yes.
Well, the oracle at the end and sometimes reads like a little insight into the moment. But anyway, there's an extra thing. If you click on one of the words in that oracle,
yes,
it'll tell you the definition of the word.
Whew.
So, we encourage people to look up the definitions. There's some people who will maybe go through this book,
yes,
which has all the words that you can make with the card just right next to it. And they'll just learn the words. They'll just know that the word exists, and they'll be really great. They'll be really proficient at the game. But we actually encourage people to look up the word. It's not good enough that you just know that that word's a real word and that one's not.
Oh, this looks like fun.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
It's
And think about for poets.
yes.
It teaches you how to rhyme.
Oh, my mind's getting excited. It's a bit more
If you
work
look
for
at
me
the
to take this
onsets,
in,
it
but-
teaches you alliteration.
Yes, yes.
You flip one of these open, and you can make a
Oh,
poem.
and for each letter, D, and you've got
Yeah.
all the components for D, and then DR. And,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're on the
this
onset
is organized.
side. Yeah.
This is better than I thought. Huh. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, this takes one whole through, and then this is then the foundation for the game, and you can actually guide yourself. One can guide themselves through the game on each letter.
Well,
Or is it all
this
random?
is the quick check. This was
Yes.
for the card game. Like if you don't want to go to a dictionary, this one quickly shows you the card and every single syllable word
every
you
combination.
can make with that card.
Wow. How many variables are there here?
There's about 10,000.
10,000
Words in here.
So actually, people get competent
Yeah.
with, and that's really the beginning of mastery. It said that 10,000, hours, or 10,000 moments, but moments of consciousness is where mastery begins to occur.
Yeah.
So this is really
Well, it first it seeps into your mind unconsciously.
Yes.
It'll be you're just playing the game, and they're just a bunch of letters, and you're learning how to flip these together, and then later on when you're reading words, you'll start automatically segmenting them that way, and pronouncing them. That's for people at a certain stage, I was saying, because onsets and rhymes are only valuable, segmenting words are only valuable at a certain part of development. If you don't have it, you're stuck.
Yes.
But once you do have it, you'll eventually get to whole word recognition.
Yes.
And fluent readers don't need this anymore.
Right.
Fluent readers just see a word and they recognize every word straight off because they've seen the word before, they've pronounced the word before, and that's what
So
fluency
this helps
is.
people that are stumbling.
Yes.
With reading.
Yes.
It helps them stumble towards integration.
Yes.
And without so it actually becomes fluid for them.
Yes.
Wow.
That's right.
I'm noticing
It's the
there's some
bridge.
difference, that there's a red section and a blue section.
Right.
What's the difference in these?
So the onsets are the consonants before the vowel,
And that's in the red?
and that's in the red section. You flip it over like this so it has a front page.
Yes.
Like that. And the rhymes start with a vowel
Yes.
and continue to the end of that syllable. So, for instance, you look at EW. Blue, brew, chew, clue, crew, do, drew, few, flew. You know, you can make a poem out of this. Few flew, but grew and.
Oh wow, this is so fun.
And then you can make an alliteration poem on
Yes.
this side.
Yes.
Before Chaucer,
Yes.
poetry was alliteration. Chaucer was the one who put end rhyme on the map, turned it into an artistic form. So before Chaucer, this would be a poem. The frail frag freaked when I fried the frill frowning frock.
My.
And that'd be a poem.
Thank you, Chaucer. We've come into you.
This is just beautiful.
All right, I am still looking forward to seeing more of this in the market, doing what we can through Angel's Den to bring to attract the other resources.
Thank you.
That will help you with marketing and management and money, that wonderful energy.
Yeah,
That in that exchange, everyone can become richer.
absolutely. Thank you.
Coolness.
And smarter.
And wow, and even a little happier too.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you for your good works.
Pleasure,
Namaste, sir.
Hilton.
God bless.
Honored.
Until again.
Thank you.